What's up, my people? I hope this video finds you well. I just finished sitting down to an interview with Braden Langley from Langley Outdoors Academy. He's got some new tools for you to take advantage of in the fight for your rights, and we're going to hop right into that. But if you want to see the full interview, then I'll have it listed in all the relevant places for you to catch up with. Thank you very much for watching. That is the battle. That is the fight, my friend, and we are all in it. So, speaking of being in the fight for everything, really, let's talk really quick about the second press. You hinted at it at the beginning of the show, as in all the work that you do. If you give us a quick primer on what the second press is, who you do it with, how often you do it, and what they're oriented. No, I'm sorry. And some of the new initiatives that you have going on.
Yeah, gotcha. So the second press is something that we've been building in the background as an infrastructure to basically take on the gun control left on their own level, on their own playing field. Okay, so I alluded to it earlier. We're building a network that's based in YouTube that is going to expand outside of YouTube into multiple different media formats. Right now, we have 3 channels. My channel, which is Langley Outdoors Academy. We have Katie Stone, who is Stone Second Sense, and then a collaboration podcast form, which is with me and Tim Harmson from Military Arms Channel, and that's called Second Legacy. And so what we're doing is we are engaging in the exact same ways that the gun controllers do. So we are hitting from a standpoint of shorts, we're doing long form, we're doing breaking news, and we're doing analysis across the board. The whole idea is through a network approach, we can bring all to bear the supporters of the Second Amendment to go forward and take actionable change. Because one of the things that I think is really important is if you're going to push rights forward and you're going to preserve rights, you have to have they did this and then what? You have to have a next step, and that's what the second press is all about. So, for example, if you were to complain about them wanting to do an assault weapons ban, okay, well, they've told you they want to do an assault weapons ban. So what is your response going to be? Because the answer can't be they're going to do an assault weapons ban, then come back tomorrow, we're going to tell you how they want to do a mag ban after that. Okay, well, again, we know they're going to do that. So what are we going to do forward? And that's the entire idea of the second press. So we just turned on one of our assets we've been building, which is a system on our website, secondpress.co, where I'll write letters. We will write letters to our congressman. We'll write letters to the Speaker of the House. I'll do it to anti-gunners. It doesn't matter to me. And every single viewer can go on to that website for free, look at that letter, agree or not agree. And if they agree, they can add their name with a unique identifier, enough anonymity where they won't be pinned or put on any kind of list. And then we'll be able to send it on set days. Right now, we put our first one out in 36 hours after our first one going to Speaker Johnson in the House. It's now at around 5,500 people in 36 hours. So it gives people a step to take forward, and that's the important piece. There's lots more things that are going to come down the road, but the idea is, yes, they are, but what are we going to do? If I was going to boil it down really tight, and you and I have had that conversation many times, but that's the idea is, let's do something about it. You know, this is the fight for our rights. This is not, I'm just going to tell you how they're infringing and then go out about my day. This is what they're doing. Now let's kick their butt. There you go.
I think that the response aspect of it is really important, not just from like the need to respond, because I think everybody's super frustrated all the time, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like everybody sees all the parts that are moving. And the good thing about the digital age is this stuff is always happening, people. Mm-hmm. Like it's been working this way for hundreds of years at this point in time, our government. Now, there are times where it's moved faster or slower than it is today, but by and large, this process has been relatively uniform. You've just never seen it because there were gatekeepers that kept it from you up to this point. Now, with the proliferation of technology and the outlets that you all in the audience have allowed us to build and put us in the positions of, we can now bring this to you with, I don't want to say completely untainted, but at least it doesn't have that other taint on it. So not only does the...
That's a sentence right there, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So not only from the perspective of giving people an outlet to vent their frustrations, but we know this kind of stuff works. We know that it does. And there will be the people out there that say that this kind of stuff does not work. They're not going to listen to you, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that I've hit this horse with every stick in the room. But if you listen to the oral arguments from the pistol brace litigation out of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Those judges reference the unprecedented interaction of the community at large in that whole situation. They repeatedly say, you guys had hundreds of thousands of comments telling you guys that you're idiots and that you shouldn't do this. Do you think you might listen? And that was a continuous theme. And I think that the initial value of giving people an outlet is important, but I think that the other that we have to really drive home is that there is not a lot of time these days. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got things to do. Mm-hmm. And I know that a lot of us have other concerns outside of what's going on in society, and we have those commitments that we have to fulfill. Giving people the access to these tools easily without a whole lot of roadblocks put in their place, where they don't have to go over and figure out where the hell the Federal Register is, where they don't have to compose a letter themselves. They don't have to sit down and actually think through it. While there are mechanisms that deal with the mass sending of things, a single letter that has tens of thousands of signatories on it is not the same as 10,000 form letters, right, sent out by the National Rifle Association.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So take that for a second. Go for it.
No. That's exactly the point. So if what you're describing, and again, and when I say this, I'm not assigning myself into what I'm about to describe. I just want to make that very, very clear. What you're describing is leadership and orienting towards a goal. So I'm not suggesting that I'm the grand leader or Curtis is the grand leader, but the point is, if we have multiple avenues coming from multiple different organizations that are putting 10,000 signatories on a memo, on a letter, on something of that nature, and it's been sent in the common direction, okay, well, that's going to put some impact on some people. Yeah, true. Some might not listen, but others who are in purple districts, who are like, wait, 13,000 people, 50,000 people signed this letter looking at me and what my vote's going to be, that carries weight. And the big thing that on my channel, and this is something that I say in every single video, it's the channel where we discuss what's going on in the gun world, but also what we're going to do about it. And you hit something that is, I think, very important in what you just said. Of course, there are people who are naysayers. There's people in that are naysayers on the gun rights side, on the gun control side. There's naysayers everywhere. That's a personality thing. And I don't fault them for it. I'm just saying that's an observation, right? But one thing that I know, if you look at new product releases and you look at technology releases and all these things, there's different tiers of adopters, and you're going to get the early adopters, and then you're going to get the moderate adopters, then you're going to get the follow alongs, then you get the piggybacks, and then you get the final end adopters. All of these things happen incrementally. You don't go from 0 to 100. You go from 0 to 15, 15 to 25, 25 to 50. It's incremental. Just like the gun control side took our rights from 1934 going forward incrementally for 50 years, we are now going to incrementally take it back. It's the same game plan. It's just played back at them. But that's the important piece. If we can orient and give them a resistance, they won't know what to do because they don't know how to handle decentralized power. They don't. I mean, Curtis, you and I have talked about this a couple of times. The left thinks in groups. They think in demographics. They think in buckets. They think in organizations. That's why all their main supporting groups are people like unions, minority groups, demographic groups, this bucket, that bucket, any kind of bucket, special interest. It's all broken down to buckets. On the side of the gun rights aisle, you typically have a bunch of individuals with their own thought that happen to align in a few main columns. They're not specificity to around what demographics they are, what bucket they are. They just believe in freedom. They believe in their gun rights. And they don't know how to handle decentralized power. That's why when they hit the NRA so hard, they're the boogeyman because they got to hit the monster. You haven't seen them hit one time against FPC, GOA, the SAF. You haven't heard any of them talk about all these decentralized organizations because they'll split their focus.
And you took the words right out of my mouth. I was waiting for you to take a breath so I could be like,
I was excited.
No, that was good. You hit it exactly how I was going to say it, because that is exactly the point. It's like It's almost like we talk about attention spans here on, because we're YouTubers, right? We talk about attention spans and the how TikTok ruined the world, right? That impacts their constituencies too. And I think that you've done a really good job lately on some of the videos that you've done on how shallow the logic runs when you get to the gun control side of things. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can find the full interview over at the main podcast channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you over there.